Hello, everyone. Hi, happy Wednesday. Can you hear me okay? Is this all right? Am I close enough to the mic? I might need to move. Hi, Angie. Thanks for coming in. How's everybody? Hi, our bureau. Let's see what we got here. Not yet. You are very clear. Thank you. Yeah, I can see my hair is a mess too. That's okay. Hi, Troy. Greetings from California. What is that? 10 a.m. there? Something? 11? How is everybody? Happy Wednesday. It's rainy here. Hi, MT Rose. Thank you for the gifts. Appreciate that. 10:39. Yeah, I'm a little late getting on here, aren't I? I wanted to record a video before I started, but I'm getting ready to do a video that, thank you, Nort57. I'm getting ready to do a video talking about the election and this organization. There's an article in ProPublica that's talking about this organization called, thank you, Troy, this organization called Ziklag. Have you heard of it? Ziklag. Organization called Ziklag, and it's something we need to know about. So I'm getting ready. I just need to finish editing the video for you to understand that the title of this article in ProPublica says, "Inside Ziklag, the secret organization of wealthy Christians trying to sway the election and change the country." This isn't just organizations. Globe Tracker. There is nobody who's the master of word salad more than Donald Trump. And I don't know why you're here. You can, if you want to try, if you're here to try to agitate, or you can go someplace else. If you want to be educated, you can stay. But I have mods who will take care of you if you're going to just say third grade stuff like that. But so this organization, Ziklag, it's a 501c3 that's being founded by the families of Hobby Lobby, ULine, but here's also Jockey Apparel. And I love Jockey clothes, but you're not going to want to fund them after you hear this information. So those three, and you have to have a wealth of over $25 million, and of course be a Christian, and prove that you have funded conservative Christian networks and values and organizations to even be considered for this group. And it's very clear that Ziklag wants to disrupt, corrupt, and steal the elections. It's very clear. So the article is called, again, "Inside Ziklag, the secret organization of wealthy Christians trying to sway the election and change the country." It says a network of ultra-wealthy Christian donors is spending nearly $12 million to mobilize Christian-leaning voters and purge more than 1 million people from the rolls in key swing states, aiming to tilt the 24 election in favor of former President Donald Trump. So read this article, and like I said, later today I wanted to get it done before today, but I just didn't have time to edit it. I had an interview this morning that I had to prepare for. Yeah, Project 2025, Trump is listed over 300 times. Pronouns and bio, I don't know what that means. Can you say the title again, please? Yes. So it's ProPublica.org, and it's called Inside Ziklag, 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 Inside Ziklag. The secret organization of wealthy Christians trying to sway the election and change the country. It's written by Andy Kroll, Kroll, and Nick Surgey, Surgey. It's being funded from donors like the founder of Hobby Lobby, the families of ULine, and Jockey Apparel. And it's a 501c3, and there's already people talking about how can this be a 501c3 with what they're doing, because they have several strategies, and one of their strategies is to use AI software to basically eradicate eligible voters and purge them from the voting rolls, especially in battleground states. So the other thing they're doing is working with a team of pastors and churches across the country to encourage their congregants to vote for Christian nationalists who are running for office. So that's why it's so important to pay attention to your local and your state elections and see what's happening, because there's a video that I'll share that some of that has already happened in Georgia, where the Republicans who were overseeing some of the state electors replaced them with Christian nationalists. They started holding secret meetings, tried to really disrupt the way that voting was going to be counted. They got called out on it, but it's so important to be ahead of this, because it's not just going to be Georgia where you find out that this is happening. It's all over the place. Christy Myers-Rendon says, basically, do not vote Republican in any shape or form. Not this year. Not this year. You know, this year it's about protecting the democracy, protecting especially marginalized groups. This article also talks about the importance of hyper-focusing on trans rights, because they say in here, ProPublica got a hold of some of Ziklag's inner documents and emails and training resources. And they say that the left has become so educated and entrenched into the educational system that people are becoming more accepting of the LGBTQIA plus community, except trans people. So they are creating a narrative around trans people to try to make that a trigger, just like they are around the issue of immigration and things like that. So Abby, in this article, you'll read that people are already saying that this organization, Ziklag, should have their 501c3 challenged, because it's clear what they're doing. They're very much making it very clear. Now, 501c3s can work for a social issue, but you can't come out and publicly declare yourself for a candidate or working for a candidate. Hold on, mods. I'm opening the Slack channel right now. I'm sorry, I didn't have it open. I was not ready as usual. Let's see if I can get it over here. Okay. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I have some questions. Somebody asked about who the VP for Kamala will be. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I think I would love it if it's Pete, but I honestly don't know, when we're talking about the moderate voter, how they would be able to handle that. I was a Pete fan when he ran for president before, so I've been a huge fan of his for a long time, especially being here in Indiana. She's announcing in PA. That probably gives us a hint then, doesn't it? Amy, the problem is Kevin Roberts is always saying it's bipartisan. Are you talking about Project 2025? Hi, Two Smokes. Yeah, see, hi, Cece. I didn't see you here. Yeah, I hope it's Shapiro too. I like Shapiro. I think that you got to think about the long game here and the importance of getting a candidate that's going to be able to appeal to the most voters and impact the swing states. So I think that is important. Tim Waltz, I like him as well. So she does that. That's a good problem to have. That is a really good problem to have for sure. None of your business says I'm Satan. Do y'all ever think that you sound like a 5-year-old? You know that's the equivalent of running up to somebody on the playground and pinching their arm and running away and really thinking you did something. Who cares? We all know what you think of us, but go ahead and plop that down like you just did a flex. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay. So thank you for taking care. I love the mods. Love them. They are just weird. That's right, our Bueller. So let's see what the next question is. How can I find out what they're doing if they're doing that in my state? I'm in a swing state. This is where my knowledge of what to do is really, really limited. And I'm going to be doing it myself here in Indiana. But I think that these Zoom calls where we're getting connected with people through Kamala's team, I think that's a really, really important start. Red, Wine, and Blue would be another good organization to go to, because they also have been activating local groups for people to work with, and they are very much educated on the local and state level in their particular region. So go to Red, Wine, and Blue and look at their resources. At the Zoom call on Monday night that was for all women of Harris, I'm sure you can go back and look at that recording because there were like 15 organizations at one time on the screen. And I plan to do the same. Yeah, Red, White, and Blue is amazing. Oh, thank you, Laura. I'm so glad you're here and that you were looking me up. Yeah, that this FYP is a little interesting, isn't it? How things happen and how you appear and disappear and all that good stuff. Before some of you came up here, I was talking about this article in ProPublica that I wanted you to make sure you go read. The article is called, and I'm going to do a video on this in a little bit, but it says, Inside Ziklag, the secret organization of wealthy Christians trying to sway the election and change the country. This article came out on July 13th, so it's only a couple of weeks old. You need to understand what Ziklag is and how the operatives of Ziklag are directly connected to Project 2025, directly connected to Peter Thiel, directly connected to Silicon Valley, Turning Point USA, Charlie Kirk, where Trump just spoke last week saying that if Christians vote this election, they will never have to vote again. Talk about word salad. Now him trying to walk that back has been ridiculous. Please spell Ziklag, Ziklag. And Elizabeth, what's interesting about that organization, first of all, it's ultra secret. You have to have a certain amount of wealth. You have to prove yourself that you're a Christian conservative. You have to prove that you're a Christian conservative. But it's also named after a city in the Bible. It's the city where David took refuge to hide from King Saul when he was at war with King Saul. So you can see that we're once again building on that narrative of the spiritual warfare and how it justifies physical warfare. This side of Christianity has no problem with corruption. Anything you do in the physical that advances the kingdom of heaven or your version of the kingdom of heaven is legit. You are free to treat anybody who is part of the world, unsaved, heathens, heretics. You are free to do to them whatever you want to do because it enhances God. It's for God. It's for the coming judgments. It's for the coming return of Jesus. All of that is justified under the banner of heaven. That is absolutely what they believe. Yes, Troy, it is. It is. I think it's important. Hi, Brian. I'm good. How are you? It's very, very important that we discuss this. We understand their motives. We understand their intentions, but we don't overreact. We are doing this to be educated and informed, and don't assume anything. Assumptions up to this point in time has led to complacency with many of us. With many of us, we have not been involved politically. We just want to believe that the white man in power has been taking care of things, because that's what we have been indoctrinated to believe. So every time you hear them talking about God saving Trump, about God ordaining Trump, about you can't question that, they are hoping to trigger in you your indoctrination. Because they don't care if you're miserable. They don't care if you're going to be oppressed by this system. They only want your vote. And if they can't do this through a legal vote, they will do it illegally. And that is what this organization, Ziklag, is about. And it is rooted in wealthy donors who are connected to Project 2025, Alliance for Defense of Freedom, I think is the name. It's right there, but it's right there as a co-sponsor of Project 2025. Turning Point USA, whose founder, Charlie Kirk, has spoken at Ziklag events, that is where that event where Trump said that Christians will only have to vote this election, they'll never have to vote again. Who says that in a democracy? Because he knows what he wants to be. These people romanticize Viktor Orban. Why in the world would Viktor Orban come to America and speak to a former president? Viktor Orban, who proudly calls his government a Christian democracy, meaning he has ensured that he will never leave power again. Because everything about their voting system has been so rigged in his favor. He controls the media now. He has eliminated the rights of the LGBTQIA+. All of this continues to happen, and he comes to America and speaks to Donald Trump. And we're supposed to look the other way like we're overreacting. Now we find out about Ziklag, and again, this article is only 2 weeks old. We find out about Ziklag, and you can see that not only has Charlie Kirk spoken at Ziklag events, guess who else has? Ben Carson. Guess who else has? Mike Pence. Guess who else has? Ted Cruz. So you're seeing how these things start to fit together, and I promise you, some kind of grid or sheet is coming. I got my massive whiteboard out. It's like 5 feet wide because I'm the kind of thinker I have to see it big before I can get it down into a structure. But guess who else is behind Ziklag? Guess who else is behind Ziklag? Oh, I'm behind on comments. Guess who else is behind it? Lance Wallnau. Now, if you've been following my videos, you know that name. Lance Wallnau. Lance proudly calls himself a Christian nationalist. He also calls himself a Christian internationalist because he believes that Christians should rule the world. Lance is the primary proponent and thought leader behind the 7 Mountain Mandate. The 7 Mountain Mandate says that Christians should have influence over 7 societal institutions: arts and entertainment, business, education, family, government, media, and religion. And some people put military in that. If you look at the National Day of Breakfast, that's certainly what they did. Thank you so much for sharing the live, Moon. Appreciate that. The lives, the tapping, commenting, that helps protect this live. So I very much appreciate you doing that. Yes. Ted Cruz's dad and MAGA Mike Johnson. Mike Johnson is a serious threat because he's very much entrenched in that. And if you look at how Mike Johnson is involved in the new apostolic reformation, and I know for some of you, y'all are trying to pencil all this in, and I promise I'm going to try to bring this back together real soon, because the part that I'm having trouble with, and anybody, show me a heart if you were raised evangelical Christian. If you're deconstructing or you have deconstructed, oh my gosh, Miss Violet, you brought up the National Day of Breakfast. Hold that thought. I'm coming back to that. Yes, indeed. I'm coming back to that. But how many of you were raised evangelical? Give me a heart. All right. So a lot of you here are raised, sorry, I had to get a drink. I've been talking all morning. Just talk. Then riddle me this, I think is what they say. You have Opus Dei. Am I saying that right? Is it DEI? Is that Opus Dei or Opus Dei? Anyway, the Opus Dei is that operative, Catholic operative that Harrison Butker was hinting at when he spoke at the Benedictine College. That traditional Latin Mass is about Opus Dei. It's hinting, just like Trump hints to the Christian nationalist that he's what he's planning as far as a dictatorship. This is what Harrison Butker was doing. He was trying to find his people, but he now he's like the mouthpiece of that. And at the hub of that Opus Dei is Dei. So Dei, is that how I say it? Thank you. Dei. So you have Leonard Leo. And we know Leonard Leo has funded millions and is the primary influence of the Catholics who are now on the Supreme Court. But then over here, you have the new apostolic reformation that has arisen from evangelical, conservative, fundamentalist Christianity. So you are talking about the extremists. They make Jerry Falwell Sr. look like a Sunday school teacher with felt figures. I'm not kidding. They left the moral majority behind. They're that radical. And when we talk about the spiritual warfare versus physical warfare versus corruption in the election cycle, that's your new apostolic reformation. Okay, so you got evangelicals and you got Catholics. So all of you who put a heart in here, tell me how these go together. You sat in those sermons. You sat in those Bible studies. You heard this. Come on, let's get uncomfortable here. But we all heard it. No, there has never been a time in that history where those two play well in the sandbox. That goes all the way back to the 16th century when the Protestant Reformation happened. So I'm really having trouble figuring that out. The only thing I can figure out, I know they loathe each other, Troy, so help me understand. Help me understand how they are working together, because they are. They're working together. And the only thing I can figure out is they said they only play well together if they are seeking power and control. Mama Kay, boom. Exactly. They're playing well together to seek power and control. You are absolutely right. That's what it is. Salt's mom. Hey, you. They want the monetary support. So they have agreed. They've got some kind of agreement that someone's going to be a part of this and someone's going to be a part of that. And they both have power. They both loathe the Pope. And then, do I even bring up the Russian Orthodox Church? Do I bring it up? Because it's sitting out there. I cannot find the article. We're talking about Christian nationalism. Yeah, so much for the separation of church and state. So Leonard Leo is part of Opus Dei. Am I saying it right now? Opus Dei. Leonard Leo is very much a part of that. And he's been quoted as saying that he will not be happy until America has church over the state, meaning the church governs everything that is happening in America. And that's our person who has chosen the last 5 Supreme Court justices. And now do we know why we need to completely overhaul the Supreme Court justices? They are corrupt AF. Thank you, Stacy, for keep telling that. Do a couple of A1s. Equal accent on Dei. So Dei. Dei? Does somebody want to come up and tell me? Alex, which name? I know I am rattling it because this has been on my brain for so long. And listen, I want to repeat to you that I'm not telling you this stuff, Dei. I'm not telling you this to have you panic. There was this, what was that? I can't remember the book where you had to know the big, ugly truth. It was talking about what leaders did. They weren't afraid to face the reality, how bad things are. Because you have to know what we're dealing with. Because any place we can be blindsided, we got to get ahead of it. We got to get ahead of Opus Dei. Okay, so thank you, Jen. Thank you so much. I'm trying to do it. All right. Have I missed any other questions? How does the Heritage Foundation do it then? I'm not sure what that question was about. Mods are grabbing your questions if I get going on a rep. Okay. IYE, you're asking me how Opus Dei is connected to Trump. Let's talk about it. So, Trump, we know he's really a tool, and he is not smart enough to figure out that both organizations are really creating a system where he's not needed. He's not needed. They're either going to blackmail him, or they're just going to figure out a way that he gets tied up in corruption or something that JD Vance becomes president. That's what they're doing. Because you remember, JD Vance is intricately tied to Leonard Leo. Now, okay, let me not get sidetracked. This is a lot of stuff open it up, and now I've opened it up. Okay, so let me try to stay on track. Your question was, how is Trump connected to Opus Dei? Let's just start with Leonard Leo. Let's make this really simple. Leonard Leo is the billionaire who has been an operative for Christian nationalism for a very long time. And he is the one who basically recruits, handpicks, and then basically hand delivers our Supreme Court justices to the president, 3 of which Trump then nominated. His connection is Opus Dei. He's involved in Opus Dei. And when you see who else is involved in that part of Opus Dei with Josh Hawley, Harrison Butker, JD Vance, several of the other Project 2025 operatives are inside that Opus Dei. That's your connection to Trump. Who are you asking me to mod? Try comment RK mod, and I'll grab you. So that is your connection. The other part of it is, but he's also connected through the New Apostolic Reformation. And that is where you find, like this article I just told you about in ProPublica.com is telling you about Ziklag, this nonprofit organization that very much is planning. They're putting millions. The Hobby Lobby founder is involved in this. The founder of ULine, the founder of Jockey Apparel, which really bums me out. I love their clothes. So those families are the primary funders. They are involved. They are connected to the New Apostolic Reformation. So those are your evangelicals sitting over here. And that's Mike Pence. Mike Pence has spoken at Ziklag. ProPublica obtained their secret inner documents that clearly show that they plan to disrupt, corrupt, and steal the 24 election by infiltrating electors with Christian nationalists who will purge voter rolls and make millions of people ineligible. It's so important that you continue to check your voter eligibility. People are already finding out that they have been taken off the rolls. I know it's happened in Georgia, and I think it might have happened in Florida. You have to make sure you keep checking. Then, and this is where I apologize, I have not had a chance to say, okay, here's how you find your local and state agencies to help you ensure that the voting in your state is protected. I don't know where to tell you other than go to Red, Wine, and Blue. And also, I think somebody said events.democrats.org. If you're still here, could you put that in the chat of what that is? Because I would like to see that. Election Protection, ACLU, that would be a real good one. And remember, we're not panicking. We have to get ahead of this because they also know they're panicking. They know that the vast majority of us want to expand human rights, to protect the historically marginalized, that agree that human rights is not a pie, that there is enough when we start to dismantle this patriarchal structure that protects the white Christian man, that tried to convince us that trickle-down economics is actually a thing that benefits a society. When we are deconstructing from that and we understand that actually a healthy community, populations that are fed, housed, clothed, insured, everybody thrives. When schools are funded, the entire population is better served, and the governor of Minnesota is proving that. Hi, Connor. Connie's crafting, sorry. Vote.org. Thank you, DK. Mods, grab these resources, please. Vote.org, event.democrat.org, ACLU, Red, Wine, and Blue. We want to make sure that we're taking care. That we are watching this, and again, we're not here to panic. We're not panicking. We are empowered with knowledge. Especially, this is such an important conversation, especially for those of us who deconstructed and we were on autopilot for years, just believing that everything was fine. I even speak to people now who are there, like, oh, Project 2025 isn't that big deal. My pastor told me it's not a big deal. Honey, your pastor told you it's not a big deal because he wants to ensure that his paycheck doesn't change. He is protecting himself. I talk to people who actually have family members who weren't born in America, who are at risk of being deported, and they can't make the connection that their vote for Trump actually will impact people that they care for. They cannot make that connection. They cannot make the connection that their high school daughter may not be able to get contraception as she continues to grow, even in her life. She may not have a choice. She may not be able to get insurance as a single woman, to force her into marriage, because don't forget, J.D. Vance believes that only the value of a woman is if she has a uterus and is capable of production. And Elon Musk apparently agrees with that because he says he calls Vice President Kamala Harris an extensionist. What is that? Elon Musk has an opinion about that because he's worried that he's not going to have enough people, test subjects that he can put on a rocket to Mars. He won't be in it. That's how he sees people. One of the most vile human beings. Mercedes, I don't care if you think that about me. If my thinking that students should not go to school hungry, if my thinking that a society where people have basic needs met make me a far left liberal, so be it. I am busted. I am busted because I guarantee you that the things I say sound more like the Sermon on the Mount than you coming here and accusing me of being a far left liberal, as if that's an insult. As if that's an insult. Tell me how things are working out for anybody on the street. Anybody hurting. Any single parent, which everybody just wants to continue to punish people who don't look like, love like, believe like you do, or weren't born in the same country as you, and you somehow think that that makes you a good person. When it does nothing but show you your arrogance, your ignorance, your bigotry, your entitlement, and it looks nothing like Jesus. So you skedaddle on down here and out of here, and you just pretend. You pretend that you're the good person. We see you. Hi, Sky Moon. It's okay. I haven't done anything with requests. Joseph Murphy asks, when did Christians turn away from Christ's words? Well, that's an interesting phenomenon. How much time you got? Because we can talk about this point in time, but what I don't want to say we're repeating history, but until we are truly ready to recognize how deeply toxic the patriarchal structures are upon which our society are built, we will continue to repeat history. So you can go back and you can look at Manifest Destiny. So we're talking hundreds of years ago, but that was the doctrine that Christians used to rationalize westward expansion in this land. It also was used to rationalize the ignoring of the unimaginable suffering of the people that were being displaced, dehumanized, exterminated. That was all under the banner of heaven. The extermination of how many millions of buffalo to starve them out, all under the banner of heaven. That was done. Dominion theology tells us that the theology is the belief that Christians should have dominance over the entirety of societal influences. So whatever it is, if a Christian isn't on top, making the decisions, being the final authority, just like you have in a church structure, then it hasn't reached we haven't culminated to the point where God envisions the world to be. That's dominion theology. That's Christian. Hop on up to the Civil War, where you literally have Christians using the Bible to justify slavery, and not only justifying it, going to war for it. Going to war. Sitting in church, singing their hymns, forcing the enslaved people to sit outside because they weren't good enough. They were forcing the Christian belief on them. If you want to understand really the tragedy and the horror behind Christian indoctrination, read Religious Intolerance in America. If you can get through the letters that Christians wrote about the native people of this land and trying to indoctrinate them, and then justifying forcing them into a building, boarding it up, and setting it ablaze because they were faking being Christians, because they couldn't learn the language. They couldn't sing the songs right. Women, children, babies in the churches, writing the letters that they did it for their God. Then you get up to the 20s. Oh, I always forget the name of this book. I don't have any. Stephanie, you're not here, are you? Fever in the Heartland. Fever in the Heartland by Timothy Egan. It tells the story of the people in sheets and the rise, the resurgence of that after the Civil War, and how close, and when I tell you how close they came to winning, because they too used politics. They too used bigotry, religion, to almost get power. And that wasn't in the Deep South. That happened right here in Indiana, and it spread out. You must read that book. You must read that book to understand how close we came then. Then you go up 40 years to the civil rights. And you had this young black preacher named Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who took his Baptist faith and created the Southern Christian Coalition, because he read the Bible from the place that said, my faith compels me to work for the good of the whole, to elevate the rights of the oppressed, and believe that we can overcome this. While down the street, the white Christian was reading that same Bible and felt that that compelled them to put on that white sheet again, to go to the churches with the ammunition, to bomb them, to annihilate them, and then sit in church on Sunday morning and praise their Jesus. It's not that far away. I was 7 years old when Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was unalived. 7. This is not ancient history. It's those people that were there at that time are still alive. They're voting in this election. They might have to be carried there, but they're going to vote because that hatred is still in their heart. Those people that were alive and rejoiced when he was unalived are still here. The silent generation is still here. They were here. They were in those churches. And here we are again. They tapped into it because the minute that civil rights, because the vast majority of people agreed with Johnson when they passed the Voting Rights Act and they passed the Civil Rights Act, the vast majority of people agreed with Johnson. So what did they do? They plotted. Just like they did after the Civil War, and started creating laws to suppress the black, to suppress the black people again, just like they did in the 20s. And after the civil rights, they did the same thing. Jerry Falwell and Paul Weyrich were the masterminds of the moral majority. And that began catapulted the issue of segregation, because they knew they needed to hide that, because the vast majority of people wanted desegregation. Now, because you had a federal law that said you couldn't segregate or you would lose your tax-free status. Go read Politico.com, the real reason behind the religious right. Go read Bad Faith. Go watch Bad Faith to read about the real origins of the religious right. It has nothing to do with the unborn. It tells the story of how they came to wrap their racism around that. So they had a reason. Now they found a motivation to motivate, because you have to realize that Roe v. Wade was passed in 73. I was 12. Jerry Falwell didn't preach his first sermon about schmishmortion until the late 70s. The Southern Baptist Convention still believed that schmishmortion was between a woman and her doctor after Roe v. Wade. Anybody who sits up here and talks to you about, well, I just think it's about the babies. They are so indoctrinated and uninformed and uneducated by choice. By choice. And their heads start spinning when you tell them this history, but it's true. It's absolutely true. Because if a person was truly about life, and you want to tell a woman what to do with her body, then you show me right now your politicians that you voted into office and how they have elevated the well-being of that woman, of that person capable of pregnancy. Tell me, show me that you've done it, but you won't, because you can't. You can't prove it. This is about you buying into the fact that you're protecting that patriarchal structure that has to have an oppressed system. It has to have people oppressed in order to have people in power. Without it, who's going to do the work? How are you going to amass to become a billionaire like Hobby Lobby founder that you then can suppress other people's rights? So, I think a person named Murphy asked me that question about when do Christians do that, and this wasn't to school you, but this is an important conversation, because it is an important conversation to understand until we understand that at the root of this Christian hatred is YT supremacy. At the root of this is YT supremacy. And I just proved it. I just proved it just by looking at America alone. So when we talk about this being a modern American evangelical Christianity problem, that's what it is. That is its lineage. That is its lineage. And that's why it is so difficult for so many of us to deconstruct from it. Because I'm going to tell you, and as much as this hurts my heart to say it, I have been in sermons where the Bible was used to justify that my color of skin was superior to others. And I'm not the only one here. Yeah, Joseph Murphy, thank you so much for that question, because I think that was an important conversation to talk about. Yeah, it's just AHNNIE, is that Ani? Yeah, sometimes we get in trouble. We have to use vernacular that's TikTok friendly. So someone can help you with that in the comments. I just can't say it. Thank you, Salt's mom. Thank you. Have I missed any questions? RK Mod, did you become a mod? I'm so sorry. Someone asked me about pro-lifers. I think I answered that. Did I answer that good enough? I think I told you what I think about pro-lifers. You're not pro-lifers. You're pro-birthers. Thank you. That was a very nice compliment, Mama Kay. This needs to be an article written for Medium. Well, thank you. I did just get interviewed by a major magazine today, but not about this, but thank you. Thank you, Connie's Crafting. Well, then your lineage is Vance. Tammy Fisher asked a good question. What is Vance's religion? He is a converted Catholic, and that's strategic because he is friends. It's not Peter Thiel. It's another Silicon Valley person, but they are connected to. He worked for Peter Thiel, Peter Thiel is the billionaire from PayPal, who very much has this vision that of America that is the most horrific type of patriarchal system that we could never recover from. And Peter Thiel is behind Project 2025. He's also behind, he gave one of the biggest donation to J.D. Vance's Senate race. So he goes back several years being connected to J.D. Vance. He and Elon Musk basically went to Trump and said, yeah, you're going to nominate him as your VP. Right after that, Elon Musk announced the $45 million a month donation, which he then walked back after Vice President Kamala Harris stood in the light to become our presumptive Democratic presidential nominee. Yes, Jerry, resist Project 2025. I hope this has given you lots of information. I'm going to start this. I'm going to say it one more time to make sure that you understand. Janine, that's a really good question about Catholicism being conservative enough. I'll talk about that. But I want to repeat this article from July 13th from ProPublica.com. Yeah, Cat Lover, I did see that he dropped out. He's a coward. The name of this article is Inside Ziklag, Ziklag, the secret organization of wealthy Christians trying to sway the election and change the country. This is such an important article, and I'm getting ready to do a video. I'll post it later this afternoon about this article, because in it you're going to learn about this organization that ProPublica obtained secret documents from. And it's a highly, highly secret organization where only the wealthiest of Christians are invited to come in. And we're talking the founder of Hobby Lobby, the founder of Jockey Apparel, the founder of ULine. People like that. They have funded several organizations, including the Alliance of Defense of Freedom and Turning Point USA. Now, why are they important? Both of them show up on Project 2025's partnership link page on the Project 2025 website. Turning Point USA, why does that ring a bell? Turning Point USA its founder is Charlie Kirk. Turning Point USA's benefit or gathering last week is where Donald Trump told the Christians that if they vote in this election, they will never have to vote again. Do you see how it's all starting to come together? They can try to put up smoke screens all they want. He can deny. People can come in here and say, oh, you're just overreacting. And we just keep connecting the dots. We just keep connecting the dots. Now, why I want you to know about Ziklag. They are funding millions towards battleground states to purge voter rolls. ProPublica's documents that they obtained shows the strategy, their timeline, their contacts. And these are deeply, deeply ingrained inside Christian nationalists and the New Apostolic Reformation. You're going to see Lance Wallnau is involved in Ziklag. I've done several videos on Lance Wallnau, right? So you know he's a proud Christian nationalist. He's the major mind behind the Seven Mountain Mandate. And he's highly involved. He's had his picture taken at Mar-a-Lago several times. So this nonsense, Trump sounds like a seventh grader when he says he knows nothing about Project 2025. As a leader of our country, to show yourself that you don't know anything about it, even if you didn't, that just shows you how uninformed you are. He cannot see how ridiculous it is every time he opens his mouth and says he knows nothing about it. However, the data and the facts show that he absolutely does. It's surrounding him. So you're going to see that they're pouring millions into recruiting electors who will go into these states, purge these voter rolls, and absolutely create chaos and corruption inside. So what they want to do is be able to show that the election is so corrupt that it can't be validated. And I think Mike Johnson, who's called himself the modern day Moses, which is part of what New Apostolic Reformations, they believe that you've got all these modern day prophets, and he thinks he's one. He thinks he's a modern day Moses. Go figure. Go figure. But also know that Ziklag has events where Ben Carson, Ted Cruz, Mike Pence, Charlie Kirk, all have spoken at these events. That's how connected Ziklag is to these Christian nationalists. They're not just an outlier. They are not just an outlier doing their rogue thing. This is deeply entrenched into the Christian nationalist operative movement, and they do not hesitate 1 minute to use corruption to try to influence the elections, because in their belief, under the banner of heaven, it's legit. If it furthers the kingdom of heaven, they've got biblical verses to believe that. Is David Jeremiah a part of Project 2025? Shelley's asking if David Jeremiah is part of Project 2025. I don't know. I have not seen his name anywhere. I did see James Dobson in some of the early formation meeting agenda items. His name appears in some of the New Apostolic Reformation because it's not that old. I mean, we're talking a couple decades, but his name's in there. But I don't know about David Jeremiah. So for those of you who don't know, he's a mega pastor that's been around for years. Hi, Dobbs Views. I didn't see you here. Okay, thank you for bringing me back to this. Someone asked, well, I'm going to answer this one. Do you think that they are planning a COUP? And I'm just not going to say it because I don't know about the vernacular here. So do you think they're planning a COUP? Yes. Yes. Do I think they'll be successful? Because I think we are becoming so aware of their plan that we have enough time that we're taking action, especially with all these Zoom calls that are being planned. Mods, can you share some of the links that we've been sharing for people? Thank you for the gifts, everyone. I'm not ignoring them. I'm so sorry. I just get involved in my own thing. I appreciate you tapping, liking, commenting. That does protect the live. It does get boosted out there, which I think is an important thing for people to hear what we're talking about here. You'll see me more here now, I hope, knock on wood. I'm trying to create more time here to talk about these things. I do think that this is an important conversation when it comes to deconstructing, because I know many of you must be triggered and confused when you start hearing white Christian people telling you what you should do, and you're thinking, well, what should I do? You want to get as far away from that as you can, because not only is that toxic theology, they very much believe that they are trying to create a Christian authoritarian regime that's modeled after Viktor Orban's Hungary. So I really do appreciate your support here. Don't forget that my book is in pre-order. Your pre-orders, I so appreciate every one of you who have done that, but that is a wonderful way for you to help support me. This does take a lot of work, a lot of my time. I do a lot of research. I try to bring it here to help you. So please look in my profile for ways that you can support me. Someone said, did you see that the head of Project 2025 resigned and also left the Heritage Foundation? I think that's a publicity stunt, because wasn't it Paul Dans? Can somebody, my computer keeps timing out. I think it was Paul Dans. Is that who resigned? Yeah. So he is directly involved with Project 2025, but also Donald Trump. He was on his staff, right? Wasn't he part of his staff? I'm pretty sure he was. And so who's going to buy that? And then they released a statement of something like, that's going to show you, if you try to say you're talking for us, we're going to show you who's the next person that's going to go down. This is comical. If it wasn't so serious, If it wasn't so serious, this would be comical, because you know the crazy thing? People are buying this. People are buying this. And the reason is because it's so much easier to be uninformed and uneducated. It's so much simpler. We've all been there. If you've deconstructed, you know it's easier to stay there than to actually think for yourself and try to figure out life. It's so much easier to be spoon-fed from the pulpit and just listen to the church leaders and let them tell you what to believe, how to worship, who we hating this week, who we judging this week, who we calling out this week, right? This is hard work, but that stuff actually works. I said last night on my live, I was talking about how I did a thing yesterday. I listened to Fox News. And the funny thing is, there was a time where I could not. I mean, I would just want to throw my iPad. There's no way. But it's like I'm at a different place, and I know I'm in power. You'll never get that time back, Serena. Right? Do y'all worry that someday I'll come back and say, oh, I'm so wrong. I'm so wrong. I'm so wrong. Go watch Fox News. I want to tell you my story about Fox News. Y'all mind if I take a drink first? I'm going to tell you the story, then I'm going to tell you what they said. And thank you all for being here. Continue to comment, like, share. This does protect the live. I remember one time watching Fox News. And Brian Kilmeade was interviewing Joe Biden. And he was so disrespectful. I'm watching Fox News like all the time. And he was so disrespectful. I watched Fox News, I'd watch CNN, and I would flip. I hadn't recognized that until I watched them interview. And I wrote them an email. Thank you for the fireworks. I wrote them an email and said, how dare you talk to that person who's who's a politician? He's here to talk to you. Why would you talk to him that way? And no, I never heard anything, but I didn't realize until later that I was gulping down the Kool-Aid in some ways and didn't even know it. So fast forward to yesterday, and I'm not kidding. Within 90 seconds of watching Fox News, they dead named Catilyn Jenner. They dead named Catilyn Jenner. Now, this isn't about what you think of Catilyn. This isn't about putting things insulting. Don't do it. Don't put anything that dead names, that disparages. We are not transphobic. And we can talk about the fact that we don't like her. We disagree with her. We think that she is a tool for the patriarchy. We can say all those things, but we don't dead name. And that's supposed to be her people. I'm like, I was 90 seconds in. Then they introduced this person. Her name is Michaela Montgomery. And she was representing, they interviewed her as a person, a black woman from Georgia, talking about how black people really feel about Harris and how she's done nothing for them. And apparently she was, I'm sorry, I can't remember the organization that she was spoken for, but what I couldn't understand, like, all right, she has the right to her opinion. She kept mispronouncing Kamala's name in the way that Trump pronounces it. I'm like, okay, I can understand you having a difference of opinion, but why would you be so disrespectful? So here I am back again. Here we are some years later, and I'm listening to this. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to reach out to her. I want to find out. She knows how to say her name, and she is even the host was saying Kamala's name right. This woman repeatedly said it wrong. So I'm looking for Michaela Montgomery and whatever the name of her organization was. I can find nothing on the internet. I can't find it on social media. I'm like, well, this is weird. If she's the founder of this organization, wouldn't there be something on the internet about this person? So then I just entered her name. And I found her on LinkedIn. And there's her picture. I recognize her. I screenshotted it. She works for a right-wing organization. I'm not kidding. You probably you need me to tell you. Well, then hang on, I'll tell you. It's Michaela Montgomery, America First Works. Go to their website. Go look at their leadership. 6 white people. Then when you Google her, you find out that she's the Michaela Montgomery who was at the Chick-fil-A who hugged Trump, and the video went viral. Fox News set her up as under a fake organization to say that she's representing the black people of Georgia. And I only found that I am 3.5 minutes into this show. I am 3.5 minutes in to watching Fox News. And this is what I found out. Like, holy cow. And these people are gobbling that up. And that's the person who's going to come here in about 90 seconds and say, yeah, well, they'll mispronounce her name or type it wrong and say, to ask her what the black people think about her in Georgia. Just watch that Fox News. You just watch. See what they really think about her. Like, dude, how do we tell them this? I don't know. I mean, it's almost like, who's out there? We need a advocacy group now I couldn't do that more than what I did. I had to get out. Like, that was exhausting. I was there maybe 4 minutes tops, and that was exhausting. I wish, and then I realized that I was on YouTube TV that I can't go back and record it. But yeah, they did both of those. You need a 3/5 of whiskey to watch 1 second of Oscar. Yeah. They are paying her very well. Yeah, I mean, there's no way, because she was also interviewed. So when I looked at the searches, she was interviewed by them in April for that video that went viral where it was so staged, where she hugs him at a Chick-fil-A, and she's been working for America First Works. It's very sad. It's very sad to see that. Thank you, Cathay. You're very kind. You're very, very kind. So I'm going to start wrapping this up. I love this question. So the National Prayer Breakfast. I'm sorry if the person's not here anymore that asked this question, because I know I went off about how Christians got to where we are today, and I really think that was an important conversation. So thank you. I needed to get that out myself to try to bring that together. I will try to write that out. I do have a massive grid that I'm putting all this on, and it's going to take me a minute, but I am doing it. And that's just the way my brain is. I'm sorry. I can't just sit down. Real quick, please, just a notice. Did you need something, Dot Views? Did I miss something? But I will get to something. But the National Prayer Breakfast. So that was set up to be an ecumenical event. Oh, okay, W's. I'll get right to you. I'm just going to talk about the National Prayer Breakfast. That was set up to be an ecumenical event, different religions, different faiths. Okay, I will get W's. Different faiths. It clearly has become an evangelical event. And that is where I was talking about the 7 Mountain Mandate. They are using the 7 Mountain Mandate as part of their prayer structure this year. So it's held in May, and they use the 7 Mountain Mandate, but they also included a prayer for the military. I mean, it was just clear. They didn't even invite anybody but evangelicals to pray, to speak. And I sent an email to the White House to say, please do not tell Biden not to what do they do? A national proclamation for National Day of Prayer. We don't need that to be a national proclamation. That was an evangelical planned event. We should not have had anything to do with that, and he shouldn't have just signed off on it. That was not good. So that is the connection of National Day of Prayer, and it does I don't know if it actually gets funding from the government. I don't know about that, but it definitely has ties to that fundamentalist 7 Mountain Mandate, Lance Wallnau, all of that stuff. They're all tied into it. The name of my book, Angie, is Deconstructing, Leaving Church, Finding Faith. You can find information in my profile. I would very much appreciate a pre-order. That does help very much. That's a way for you to support me, is to pre-order my book. I do have ways there if you want to support us financially. This does take time, the research that we do and the things that we take care of here for you. So I do appreciate all of your support, the gifts that you give us here, the sharing, the live, sharing my videos, all of that you do helps so much. So I really do appreciate it. Thank you, Nurse Kristen. Okay, Dob Views, let me go find you. There's still 2 people in the queues. I'll go through them and then we're gonna call it a day.
Hello, my dear.
Hello there. How are you?
I just want to make a public announcement. Everyone, please stop what you're doing at some point this week. Contact your local voter registration office and make sure that you are still registered as a voter. I was dropped from the rolls. I have never missed a single vote in my entire life since I was 18. Make sure you are checking and make sure that you are still registered.
Thank you so much. We're hearing that more and more, and that could very much be out of the playbook that you're going to read about in this ProPublica.com article that I told you about. I will be doing a video about that. Yes, so go to vote.org. Hey, Dee Dee. Go to vote.org and make sure you check your registration. Go to Red, Wine, and Blue. Did you say, is it Democrats.org? Is that one of our, is it too late to register to vote? Sky Moon, I don't think it is.
No, it's not.
We need to find that out too. And again, I'll tell you, when it comes to that, I am not politically savvy. I'm getting more. I'm diving so deep into all this stuff that's behind the scenes and how they're trying to corrupt it. But I admit I'm embarrassed. I'm not politically strong, but I will do more to make sure that we're more informed here. Davius, thank you so much. I have 2 more guests in the panel. I'm going to ask them up and then I'm going to call it a day.
Take care, Don.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Hello, are you here? Looks like you're spinning. I'm not sure what's going on. And you might have gone away and maybe not because you were there for a while. So I appreciate you trying. All right. We're going to take that off. Maybe next time. And of course, I went live, Lynette, without having the document up. Let me see if I can find it. Y'all, I am my worst. Let's find it. It's Q2, right, Lynette? I'll find it. Did not come up. Skip. Okay. I'm going to skip it. Y'all, thank you so much. This has been a wonderful conversation. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your support. Again, in my profile, you will find information about pre-ordering my book, Deconstructing, Leaving Church, Finding Faith. It does come out on October 8th, so we are getting close to that. I really do appreciate your time. Every time you share this live, you share a video, you support me. There's several ways you can see in my profile that you can support. I really appreciate everything you do. Thank you so much, Kate. I see that you are a subscriber. I will say that when we get 20 subscribers, I will be going live in there. I have read about 6 books in the last 3 weeks. So during this time, I wasn't going live. I was reading and I was studying. We're going to do those for outlines for the my videos, but also we're going to be really diving into those inside those subscriber only lives where you will be able to answer questions. You also in there now, you can see my videos called Sundays with Rev Karla, where that's just a place for inspiration and right there in the comfort of your home. And also that's where we upload my sacred conversations, where I go deep into a topic, just like we did here about how did Christians get to where they are. That would be a good subject to load up there too, I think. So thank you all very much. I think I got to all your questions today. This has been a wonderful, wonderful conversation. Thank you, Mike K, so much for purchasing a subscription. I do appreciate you. I think we'll get to 20 really, really soon, and we'll start having those subscriber only lives. Thank you all very much. I think I'm coming back tomorrow. I think. I need to get that live schedule together. I appreciate you. Start to tell me bye, because I know there is a delay. Rev Karla Shop just reminded me. Oh, please follow Rev Karla Shop and Rev Karla TOO. Those are my backup accounts. I really would appreciate a follow there, just in case something happens here. I can go live over there. So please follow those two accounts as well. They're legit. You'll see that it's definitely me. And you can see in my profile that I have those names. So any others that are out there are all scammers. It's impossible to get those taken down. But we try. Thank you, punks. Oh, hi. Hey, it's good to see you. You'll have to come up. You'll have to come up next time. Oh, thank you, Judy Blue Eyes, for subscription. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Okay, everyone. Yes, ProPublica.com. Just type in Ziklag and you're going to get that article. And I have a video coming up about that very soon. But read that article. It is incredibly important. Paul Herman. I don't know, honey. You'd have to tell me how many. What do you even say? Are you 12? What do you guys think you do with those kinds of things? Do you even think about how incredibly ignorant and naive and unharmful those are? It just shows your ignorance. It really does just show your ignorance. Y'all, just when those people say that, there's no, first of all, there's no debating them. It's like I said, it's like being on the playground when you were in 5th grade and the bully coming up and pinching you on your arm and running away. And and they think they did something. What? It's just like, did y'all ever grow up? I mean, read some of the comments that I get. It's like, oh yeah, well, what? What? Oh, they couldn't hang. They just couldn't hang here. They had to go. So Trump 2024 showed you. Say, do something with that. Trump 2024 showed you. Like, oh yeah, you really showed me. Don't leave irritated. Oh, I'm fine. I'm not irritated. I am not irritated. I feel good. I feel empowered. I feel informed. I feel good. Thank you for all of you with your little Rev K on there. I appreciate you so much. Hi, Mary Frances. Thank you. Love you too. See you soon. Bye for now.